You want to change the world, right? You want better friends, a better life, a better future. But let me ask you something. How can you clean the world when your own mirror is dirty? How can you fix others when you're still broken inside? We live in a time where everyone wants to inspire, advise, judge, and correct, but very few are willing to reflect, heal, and grow. Before you point fingers, ask yourself, have I fixed myself first? Because real transformation doesn't begin with noise. It begins with silence. It begins with you facing you. Fix yourself first, not because others deserve it, but because you do. Because when you rise, your world rises with you. When your mindset changes, your life follows. And when your soul is healed, everything you touch becomes better. So today, I'm not here to tell you to fix the world. I'm here to remind you, fix yourself first. Stop focusing on what others are doing wrong. Stop trying to fix people who don't even want to be fixed. The moment you turn your energy outward, judging, correcting, comparing, you lose the most powerful opportunity you have, the chance to grow yourself. Because let's be honest, it's easy to notice everyone else's flaws. It's easy to say, they need to change. Oh, if only they acted differently. But it takes real courage to look into the mirror and say, maybe it's me who needs to change first. Self-reflection is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's the ability to pause and ask, what am I doing that's holding me back? What patterns keep repeating in my life? And what am I not seeing? The truth is, every situation, every conflict, every disappointment carries a mirror for you. Maybe it's not about how unfair the world is. Maybe it's about how you react to it. Maybe it's about what you tolerate, what you believe about yourself, or what energy you keep allowing in. When you start observing your own thoughts instead of blaming others, you begin to see how much power you've been giving away. You start realizing that the problem was never just around you, it was also within you. Your habits, your mindset, your insecurities, these are the invisible strings pulling your life in certain directions. And until you become aware of them, nothing truly changes. It's not about guilt, it's about growth. It's not about being perfect, it's about being honest with yourself. Self-reflection is not a punishment, it's a process of purification. You sit with your flaws, not to shame them, but to understand them. You look at your pain, not to relive it, but to release it. That's how evolution begins. When you stop trying to edit the world and start editing yourself. And here's the irony. The more you fix yourself, the less you'll need to fix others. You'll stop expecting people to act a certain way because you'll have found peace within yourself. You'll stop trying to win arguments because you'll realize inner calm is worth more than being right. You'll stop chasing validation because your worth will come from within. So, before you correct, first reflect. Before you react, observe. Before you blame, pause. Because every time you look inward, you take back your power. You begin to clean the mirror, and when the mirror shines, the whole room becomes brighter. That's the beauty of fixing yourself first. You don't just change your reflection, you change your entire reality. Taking responsibility for your own life is one of the most powerful and liberating decisions you will ever make. Most people spend their whole lives blaming circumstances, people, or luck for where they are. They say things like, if my parents had supported me more, or if I had better opportunities, or if people understood me. But accountability means stopping all of that noise. It means standing in front of your own reality and saying, no matter what has happened to me, I am responsible for what I do next. That sentence alone can transform your entire life. Because the truth is, you can't control what happens around you, but you can always control how you respond to it. Accountability is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. When you stop making excuses and start making efforts, everything changes. You realize that no one is coming to save you, no one is coming to hand you happiness, and no one is going to fix your mistakes for you. It's you who has to rise up, take charge, and become your own rescue plan. When you hold yourself accountable, you stop being a victim of life and start being the author of it. Every emotion you feel, every reaction you give, every choice you make, it all adds up to the life you're living right now. The question is, are you creating consciously or are you reacting blindly? Accountability teaches you to pause before reacting. It teaches you to ask, what can I learn from this? Instead of, why is this happening to me? That small shift in mindset separates the people who grow from the people who keep repeating the same story. When you blame others, you hand them control over your peace. When you take responsibility, you take that control back. Suddenly, even pain becomes powerful. You stop running from failure because you know it's part of your growth. You stop pointing fingers because you realize that life is not about finding fault. It's about finding lessons. Accountability is not about guilt or self-blame. It's about self-awareness. It's about being honest enough to admit, yes, I made that mistake, but I'm not that mistake. I can choose differently now. It's about understanding that your results are a reflection of your actions, your discipline, and your mindset. And the moment you accept that, you stop living passively and start living intentionally. You'll notice something beautiful when you begin practicing accountability. Your confidence grows. Because when you stop waiting for others to fix things, you start trusting your own ability to do so. You start walking differently, speaking differently, thinking differently. You stop depending on luck and start depending on effort. You start realizing that even if the world doesn't play fair, you can still play strong. So, take responsibility for your energy, your decisions, your emotions. If you're unhappy, change something. If you're failing, learn something. If you're stuck, move something. Accountability gives you back your freedom. It reminds you that you are never helpless as long as you're willing to act. And that is the real foundation of growth, not waiting for someone else to make life better, but deciding that no matter what, you will. Everything that comes into your life is a reflection of what's happening inside you. Your energy is like a magnet. It attracts people, situations, and experiences that match the vibration you give off. When your mind is full of negativity, doubt, and fear, you start pulling in people who mirror those same feelings. When you're bitter, you meet bitterness. When you're insecure, you meet those who make you feel smaller. But when you begin to fix your inner world, your thoughts, your emotions, your mindset, you start radiating a different frequency. And suddenly, life begins to respond differently. Think about it. When you wake up frustrated or anxious, the whole day seems to fall apart. Every little thing irritates you, and it feels like everyone around you is against you. But when you wake up with gratitude, calmness, and purpose, everything flows smoother, even when problems appear. That's not magic, that's energy. You are always attracting what you are, not what you wish for. You can't demand peace while carrying chaos inside. You can't expect loyalty when you're filled with fear and distrust. The world simply mirrors you back. This is why inner work is so essential. You can't fake energy. You can fake a smile, fake confidence, fake positivity, but the energy underneath always reveals the truth. People feel it even if you never say a word. Have you noticed how some people walk into a room and instantly lift the mood, and others walk in and drain it, even in silence? That's not luck, that's vibration. It's the quiet power of a person who has cleaned their inner space. If your life feels stuck, look within. Ask yourself, what am I thinking? What am I feeling? What am I constantly saying to myself? If your inner voice is full of complaints, fear, or doubt, your external world will reflect the same pattern. But when you replace that inner noise with clarity, belief, and gratitude, life starts to open doors that once seemed locked. When your energy is pure, you no longer need to chase people or force outcomes. The right ones are drawn to you naturally. Relationships become smoother, work feels lighter, and peace becomes your default state. You stop fighting for recognition because your energy speaks louder than your words. You stop begging for love because you radiate it from within. Fixing your energy doesn't mean pretending to be happy all the time. It means becoming aware of what you carry inside. It means cleansing yourself from resentment, jealousy, and comparison. It means learning to let go of what doesn't serve your peace. Every time you forgive, you lighten your energy. Every time you choose patience over reaction, your vibration rises. Every time you practice gratitude, you shift your frequency higher, and soon you'll notice that your outer world starts to match this new inner version of you. You'll attract kinder people, better opportunities, and moments of unexpected joy. You'll stop asking, why do bad things always happen to me? And start saying, I can handle whatever comes because I'm aligned from within. Your energy is your message to the universe, and it's being broadcast every moment through your thoughts, emotions, and actions. You can't build a peaceful life with a restless mind. You can't build abundance with a scarcity heart. You can't find love while living in self-hate. Everything starts with energy, and energy starts with you. So if you want your world to change, don't look around, look within. Don't try to fix the mirror, fix your reflection. Because once your inner world is healed, balanced, and aligned, your outer world has no choice but to rise to that same frequency. That is the quiet, unstoppable power of fixing your energy first. Healing is not a sign of weakness. It is the highest form of strength a human being can possess. It takes no effort to hide behind a smile, to pretend you're fine, to act like nothing ever hurt you. But it takes tremendous courage to sit alone with your pain, to face your past, and to admit, yes, that broke me, but I am ready to rebuild. Healing is not for the faint-hearted. It's not about running away from your wounds. It's about walking straight into them, and saying, I am not afraid to feel anymore. The world teaches us to move on quickly, to distract ourselves, to bury what hurts deep inside. But what you bury never disappears. It grows roots inside you. It shapes the way you think, the way you love, the way you see yourself. You can wear a mask for the world, but your soul always knows what it's carrying. Healing means taking off that mask. It means meeting yourself where you are, no matter how messy that place looks. It's saying, I deserve peace, and I'm willing to do the work to find it. Real healing is not instant. It's slow, uncomfortable, and often silent. Some days you'll feel like you're moving backward. Some nights you'll cry without even knowing why, and that's okay. Healing doesn't follow a straight line, it spirals. You revisit the same pain, but each time with a little more understanding, a little more strength, a little more self-compassion. The goal is not to erase the past, it's to make peace with it. You see, healing is not about forgetting what happened. It's about no longer allowing it to control you. It's about learning that your pain was not a punishment, but a teacher. Every heartbreak, every loss, every disappointment carries a hidden message. It came to awaken something within you. Maybe it came to teach you boundaries. Maybe it came to show you what self-love really means. Maybe it came to make you realize that you are stronger than the worst thing that ever happened to you. When you begin to heal, you stop reacting from your wounds and start responding from your wisdom. You no longer let your past dictate your choices. You stop attracting pain because you've learned your lessons. You stop clinging to people who hurt you because you've learned to value your peace more than their presence. Healing makes you softer, not weaker, because softness is not the absence of power, it's the presence of deep understanding. There's beauty in being broken and still choosing to love again. There's power in crying and still deciding to rise again. Healing transforms pain into purpose and scars into stories of survival. Every tear you shed waters the garden of your growth. Every moment you choose peace over anger, forgiveness over bitterness, faith over fear, you're rewriting your story. But remember, healing doesn't mean you'll never hurt again. It means the hurt no longer owns you. It means you've made peace with the storm and found calm within it. It means you can look back on the things that once shattered you and smile, not because they were easy, but because you made it through. So don't rush your healing. Don't compare your journey to anyone else's. Some heal in silence, some in prayer, some in creation, some in tears. However you heal, just keep going. Because every step you take toward peace, no matter how small, is a victory. And one day, you'll wake up and realize the pain that once consumed you has turned into the power that now carries you. Healing is strength. It's bravery. It's freedom. It's choosing yourself over and over again, even when it hurts. And that right there is where true transformation begins. You can't control people. You can't control their choices, their moods, their reactions, or their growth. You can't force someone to understand you, love you, or treat you right. The harder you try to control others, the more exhausted and disappointed you become. Because the truth is, control is an illusion. The only real control you have is over yourself, your thoughts, your actions, and the energy you choose to bring into every moment. Most of us waste so much of our energy trying to fix, convince, or change people who aren't even ready to change. We say things like, if only they listened, if only they cared, if only they saw things my way. But life doesn't work that way. People change only when they decide to, not when you demand it. The moment you realize this truth, you free yourself from a lifetime of emotional struggle. Trying to control others is like trying to hold water in your hands. The tighter you grip, the faster it slips away. You can't make someone love you more by giving them more. You can't make someone stay by losing yourself trying to keep them. And you can't heal someone's pain by sacrificing your peace. Your job is not to fix everyone around you. Your job is to stay grounded in your own truth so deeply that your peace becomes contagious. When you stop trying to control others, something magical happens. You begin to reclaim your power. You stop wasting time arguing, proving, or pleasing. You stop begging for respect and start embodying it. You stop expecting others to change and start focusing on becoming the change yourself. Because when you change your energy, the world around you responds naturally. You don't need to chase, you attract. You don't need to convince. Your peace becomes your presence. Think about how much lighter your life becomes when you stop trying to manage everyone else's emotions. You no longer carry the burden of their choices. You no longer feel responsible for their happiness. You realize that every person is walking their own journey, learning their own lessons, facing their own timing. And sometimes the best way to help someone grow is to simply step back and let them face their own mirror. When you let go of control, you make space for understanding. You learn to love without possession, to guide without force, to support without losing yourself. You begin to trust life's natural flow. You realize that not everything needs your reaction. Not every argument needs your voice. Not every situation needs your involvement. Silence becomes power, patience becomes protection, and peace becomes your default setting. You'll find that when you stop trying to control people, relationships become more peaceful. You stop expecting perfection, and you start appreciating authenticity. You stop trying to mold others into your idea of right, and instead, you allow them to be who they are. That acceptance, that space, becomes the very thing that inspires change. Not pressure, not control, but genuine acceptance. Letting go of control doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop suffering. It means you trust that life knows what it's doing, even when you don't. It means you believe that everyone has their own divine timing to learn, to heal, to rise. And it means you're wise enough to know that your peace is too precious to trade for someone else's chaos. So, release the need to fix people. Release the urge to make everyone like you, understand you, or follow your path. Your role is not to be the puppeteer. It's to be the light. And the light doesn't chase the darkness. It just shines until the darkness fades on its own. When you stop trying to control others, you discover something extraordinary, the freedom to truly live. You begin to focus on your own growth, your own healing, your own peace. You start realizing that the more you align with yourself, the more the right people, opportunities, and blessings naturally flow into your life. So breathe, let go, and trust. You don't have to control anyone. You just have to master yourself. And when you do, the world around you begins to change, not because you forced it to, but because your peace inspired it to. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you want to become. It's not glamorous, it's not always exciting, and most of the time, it's uncomfortable. But it's the quiet force that transforms dreams into reality, intentions into results, and chaos into clarity. We live in a world that glorifies instant gratification, quick results, easy success, fast fame. But the truth is, nothing meaningful in life comes without consistency, focus, and effort. Discipline is not about punishment, it's about self-respect. It's saying, I am worthy of the effort it takes to become the best version of myself. Every great person you admire, every leader, athlete, artist, or thinker, didn't get there by luck. They got there through discipline. They showed up on the days they didn't feel like it. They pushed through boredom, doubt, and failure. They didn't wait for motivation, they created it. Because motivation is a feeling, it fades. Discipline is a decision, it stays. When you live with discipline, you stop depending on moods and you start depending on commitment. Discipline is not about doing big things once in a while. It's about doing small things consistently. It's waking up a little earlier to pray, to read, to move your body. It's keeping your promises to yourself even when no one is watching. It's saying no to distractions, no to procrastination, and no to the temporary pleasures that steal long-term peace. Discipline means doing what's right even when it's not easy. And that's what separates those who wish from those who achieve. But discipline doesn't just shape your habits, it shapes your mind. When you become disciplined, you build trust with yourself. You start believing in your own word. You stop saying, I'll try, and start saying, I will. You begin to realize that self-control is the highest form of freedom because you are no longer ruled by impulses or emotions. You learn that every time you resist an excuse, you grow stronger. Every time you push through discomfort, you train your mind to overcome resistance. There will be days when discipline feels heavy. You'll want to quit. You'll wonder if it's even worth it. Those are the moments that matter the most, because that's where growth happens. The strength you build in those moments is what will carry you when life tests you. Discipline is not about perfection, it's about persistence. Even if you fall, you get back up. Even if you fail, you start again. Every time you choose consistency over comfort, you are silently rewiring your future. Discipline also teaches patience, the art of waiting without giving up. You begin to understand that results don't come immediately. Progress is slow, and that's okay. Because while the world rushes, you stay steady. You're not chasing quick success, you're building a foundation that lasts. And that foundation, built on discipline, cannot be shaken easily. It makes you resilient, focused, and unbreakable. When here's the beauty of it, discipline spreads. When you start being disciplined in one area of life, it flows into others. The way you eat, the way you think, the way you treat people, the way you manage time, everything starts to align. Discipline brings order, and order brings peace. You no longer live in constant chaos because you know what you're working toward and you know you're capable of reaching it. There's a special kind of joy that comes from discipline, a quiet pride in knowing that you kept going when it would have been easier to stop, that you honored your goals, your word, your vision. You begin to see that discipline is not the enemy of freedom, it's the doorway to it. Because when you're disciplined, you don't live by default, you live by design. So, no matter how small your steps are, keep taking them. Wake up with purpose. Stick to your plan. Do the work even when no one applauds you. Because while the world sleeps, discipline builds empires. And one day, when people call you lucky or gifted, you'll smile quietly, knowing it wasn't luck, it was discipline, consistency, and self-respect that built the life you're living. Silence is one of the greatest strengths a person can ever develop. In a world that is constantly shouting, where everyone wants to be heard, where opinions flood every corner of our minds, silence has become rare, almost forgotten. But silence is not emptiness. It is power. It's the calm in the middle of chaos, the pause between thoughts, the stillness where truth reveals itself. When you learn to be silent, you begin to hear the things that noise always hides: your intuition, your wisdom, your peace. Most people are uncomfortable with silence because they confuse it with weakness. They think being silent means being passive, being unable to respond, or being defeated. But silence is not surrender, it's strategy. Sometimes the most powerful response you can give is no response at all. Not because you have nothing to say, but because you've reached a level of strength where you no longer need to prove anything. Silence protects your energy. It keeps you from wasting your peace on meaningless battles and temporary storms. When you're silent, you begin to notice what truly matters. You start seeing how much noise the world makes to distract you from your purpose, your growth, your soul. You start recognizing how much power people lose when they react to everything. Every argument, every rumor, every little irritation is a test. Will you let it control you, or will you stay grounded in your silence? Silence teaches you control, the kind of control that doesn't come from dominating others, but from mastering yourself. There's a strength in holding your peace when everything around you is pulling for a reaction. When you choose not to respond to negativity, you're not avoiding the situation. You're choosing a higher vibration. You're saying, my peace is more valuable than being right. You begin to understand that not every truth needs to be spoken. Not every opinion needs to be shared, and not every action needs an explanation. Some things lose their power completely when you stop feeding them with your attention. Silence also sharpens your mind. When you stop talking, you start listening more deeply, not just to others, but to life itself. You start hearing the lessons hidden in ordinary moments, the whispers of intuition that guide you. When you slow down enough to notice them, you realize that wisdom doesn't come from endless talking. It comes from awareness. Silence allows you to observe before you act, to understand before you judge, and to respond instead of react. In silence, you learn who you really are. Without the noise of the world telling you who to be, you find your own voice, the one that doesn't need to shout to be heard. You start valuing inner peace over outer approval. You stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You stop trying to win every argument because you know that the loudest person in the room is often the weakest one. The strong don't need to prove, They simply move in silence and let results speak. Silence is also healing. When life hurts you, when people betray you, when the world feels unfair, silence gives you the space to process it without bitterness. It allows wounds to close without being reopened by words spoken in anger. In silence, forgiveness becomes possible. Not because others deserve it, but because your heart deserves rest. It's in those quiet moments, alone with your thoughts, that you begin to find meaning in pain and strength in stillness. Even nature understands silence. The trees don't argue, yet they grow strong. The rivers don't shout, yet they carve through mountains. The sun rises without a word, yet it lights up the entire world. The universe moves in silence, and still everything falls perfectly into place. That's the power of quiet strength. So, be silent, not because you're weak, but because you're wise enough to know that peace is priceless. Let your silence confuse those who expect your reaction. Let it protect you from drama and noise. Let it remind you that you don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. Speak when words can heal, guide, or uplift. But when words will only create more chaos, choose silence. Because silence doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means everything is happening within you. Growth, healing, clarity, and power are all born in silence. And when you finally emerge from it, you don't need to announce your transformation. People will feel it just by being in your presence. That is the strength of those who have mastered the art of being silent. There comes a moment in every person's life when they realize that not everything and not everyone deserves a place in their journey. You begin to see that some people, habits, and environments are not helping you grow. They are draining you. They take your peace, your confidence, your focus, and sometimes your sense of self. Detaching from toxic patterns is not selfishness, it is self-preservation. It's choosing to stop setting yourself on fire just to keep other people warm. It's realizing that you cannot become who you're meant to be if you keep clinging to what's breaking you. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you start caring correctly. It means you love yourself enough to walk away from what no longer feeds your soul. It's not an act of anger, it's an act of clarity. When you begin to detach, you stop begging for peace from the places that steal it. You stop explaining yourself to people who only listen to reply, not to understand. You stop waiting for validation from those who are too blind to see your worth. Detachment is freedom. It's the moment you stop being a prisoner of other people's chaos. Toxic patterns don't always come in the form of bad people. Sometimes they come as old habits, unhealthy thoughts, or emotional cycles you keep repeating without realizing. Maybe it's the way you always say yes when your heart is screaming no. Maybe it's staying in places where you feel unseen because you're afraid of being alone. Maybe it's replaying painful memories until they become your identity. Detachment begins when you start noticing those patterns and deciding that you no longer want to live in that loop. You cannot heal in the same environment that hurt you. Sometimes you need distance, not out of bitterness, but out of respect for your own growth. Detaching doesn't mean you hate them. It means you love yourself enough to step back and breathe. It's understanding that peace sometimes comes at the price of separation. You can't rise while holding on to what's pulling you down. You can't grow in soil that's poisoned with negativity, drama, or guilt. Letting go is not failure, it's wisdom. It's saying, I've learned the lesson, and now I'm ready to move forward. The process of detachment is rarely easy. Your mind will try to convince you to stay, to keep trying, to fix what's already broken. It will whisper, maybe it'll get better. But deep down, your soul knows the truth. It's time. Time to stop shrinking yourself to fit into spaces you've outgrown. Time to stop tolerating the pain you've disguised as love. Time to stop replaying a story that has already ended. Detachment requires strength because it means walking away without closure, trusting that peace is better than answers. When you detach, you start reclaiming your energy. You begin to notice how light you feel when you're no longer carrying everyone's expectations. You find joy in solitude because it's not loneliness, it's freedom. You start hearing your own voice again, the one that got lost under all the noise. Detachment teaches you boundaries, the ability to love people without losing yourself in them. It teaches you that not everyone deserves access to your energy, and not every situation deserves a reaction. And as you detach from what drains you, you begin to attract what aligns with you. You'll meet people who value peace over drama, depth over noise, truth over convenience. You'll find opportunities that match your new energy because life always mirrors your state of being. The things that once triggered you will no longer have power over you. The people who once confused you will no longer affect you. That's when you'll realize that detachment is not about losing, it's about gaining yourself back. Letting go is an art. It requires faith that what's meant for you will never require you to betray your peace to keep it. It requires patience to trust that the emptiness left behind will soon be filled with something better, something real. It requires courage to close doors without slamming them, to walk away without resentment, and to choose silence instead of chaos. Detachment is the quiet decision to protect your energy even when your heart still cares. So, release what weighs you down. Let go of people who don't show up. Distance yourself from environments that dim your light. Unlearn habits that keep you small. You are not obligated to carry pain just because you once loved it. You deserve peace more than you deserve closure. You deserve freedom more than familiarity. And you deserve to be surrounded by things that make your soul feel alive. Detaching from toxic patterns is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your healing. Because every time you choose peace over pain, you are writing a new chapter. One where your energy is sacred, your heart is respected, and your life finally reflects the calm you've been searching for. And that, right there, is when you truly begin to rise